What is up, YouTube? I'm Devon DaVinci, leader of the Renaissance Crew, and you're watching DaVinci Reacts. Today we're going to be checking out a video, another video by TierZoo. For those of you that aren't familiar, I've done a number of TierZoo's videos. If you're unfamiliar with TierZoo itself, then you need to get on your internet A game, because TierZoo is, as far as I'm concerned, a staple on YouTube. If you're a fan of animals, if you're a fan of video games, or any type of combination of the two, you owe it to yourself to check out TierZoo. They have some of the most interesting animal and nature related videos that I think I've ever seen, and I'm a big fan of them. So I'm going to check out this video, which is Are Wolves OP? Now I know that he has a bit of a, I can't even say a bias, because it's a fact. Like he has favor towards animals that tend to be more social. The ones that do things in groups and stuff like that, he tends to lean more towards. So maybe that is going to have play some type of factor when it comes to his ranking of wolves. But as far as like the idea of wolves themselves, I would say it's not so much their OP, it's just they really know how to use their build. Like they essentially can run like any server that they're in, depending on how many players are in that guild. But the second a superior player, like humans, come into the equation, they know how to adapt themselves so that they could join forces with humans, so that way they don't have to worry about being at, like, not at the top of the food chain, if you know what I mean. Like they know how to get in good with the humans, and now they can continue to do their thing, but not have to worry as much about people, as long as if you don't fuck with their territories and stuff like that. But with that being said, let's see what TierZoo has to say about the wolf in this video. I will have a link for TierZoo's channel at the end of the video. Icon will pop up over here somewhere. You can click on it. It'll take you to their to his channel, so you can like, subscribe, comment, all the other good stuff. And the original video will be in the link in the description box down below. So if you want to check out the video without hearing me talk over it, or if you are a content creator yourself and you want to do a reaction and you don't want to have to worry about getting me clipped into it or whatever, then that's the link that you would use. Anyway, let's jump into this.
At the height of the Ice Age, the Tundra server was filled with incredibly overpowered beasts. Smileon's Saber Fang perk enabled it to one-shot.
Just real quick, time out, pause. Is that Pokemon Snap? That is Pokemon Snap. Ah, that takes me back. Just a quick side note. This has nothing to do with the video itself, but just that interface reminded me of something. I was in a debate with somebody on TikTok, and they had the nerve to try to make the argument that the Sega Saturn was a better console than the Nintendo 64. Now, I'm not a Nintendo 64 guy. I'm a PlayStation person until I die. PS1 is my favorite console of all time. But even I can admit that the Nintendo 64 dog walks Sega Saturn. Besides Panzer Dragoon and Nights in the Dreams or whatever, maybe Sonic CD. Those are the only classical games I can think of. They have someone try to point out Sega Rally like Championship or whatever, and it's like, really? That's a niche game. That I would be surprised if that sold 1 million copies. Yeah, so like those 3 games is all I can really think of. Whereas Nintendo 64, do I need to spell out the list? You got Super Mario 64, you got Mario Kart, you got Smash Brothers, you got Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon Snaps, you got Mario Party, you got Perfect Dark Zero, you got, well, Perfect Dark, you got GoldenEye 007, you got Donkey Kong 64, you got Banjo-Kazooie, you have what other games you got on there? Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Do I need to go on? Isn't the fact that I was able to name like 15 to 20 goddamn games ass whooping enough? Can't you just like let it go? No, am I wrong? Let me know. If I'm too harsh on the Sega Saturn, go in the comments section. Let me know. For those of you that are Nintendo fans or Sega fans, be sure to like come and let me know what like if I'm overstepping my bounds. Maybe there's some classical games on Sega Saturn that I'm just overlooking and don't really know enough about. Sega fans, defend your Saturn console. Truthfully, I don't even know if Sega fans defend the Saturn, but let me know. Maybe I'm tripping.
Powered beasts. Smilodon's Saber Fang perk enabled it to one-shot nearly any other player in the game. The short-faced bear was seemingly invincible, being the largest carnivorous mammal.
Just slapped the hell out of him to death.
The cave hyena had an absurdly powerful bite force, able to crack bones and tear incredible amounts of flesh with every bite. Yet, of the Ice Age's top predators, the one which proved to be the most resilient and indeed the most successful was the wolf. Even though wolves are nowhere near as massive or as powerful as these other Ice Age monsters, today the wolf build is practically synonymous with ferocity and hunting prowess. But what is it about wolves that made them such a force of nature? Today we'll find out.
How wolves
are
broke the
part of the
game.
carnivoran archetype, which became popular during the Miocene update. The main perk of this archetype is something called carnassial teeth, a trait which greatly improves the ability of carnivorous builds to
They're actually back
food.
the back
Rather
ones.
than needing to swallow things whole or mercilessly slam dunking the daylights out of things until they fall apart, carnassial teeth enable the player to bite off small chunks of meat, which might seem like a small thing, but really it opens up tons of new opportunities for carnivorous playstyles, including for scavenging carcasses and for sharing larger kills among teammates. The carnivoran archetype is split into two main factions, feliforms and caniforms. There are a ton of differences between these
Cats
two,
and
but I'll
dogs.
try and simplify them into how the differences play out in practice. At their core, feliforms are adapted to being hyper-carnivorous ambush predators, whereas caniforms are more generalist in nature. This is most obvious in their snouts, which have different shapes and lengths. Caniforms tend to have longer, less compact snouts. This enables them to carry a wide range of different types of teeth, suited for a more omnivorous playstyle. You have some teeth for dealing damage, some for shearing meat, some for crunching bones or nuts, and even some for chewing on plant fibers. Meanwhile, feliforms have shorter snouts, enabling them to have a higher bite force, but limiting them to pretty much only having teeth meant for either dealing damage or shearing off chunks of meat. The longer caniform snout gives them other advantages too. The larger nasal cavity enables them to breathe more efficiently and intake more oxygen. This gives caniform builds much greater stamina, enabling them to run for much greater distances without tiring. It also facilitates their vastly superior sense of smell, which enables them to track prey, scavenge for food, and find teammates. So it makes sense why just about every feliform build is an ambush predator, whereas caniforms can be anything from acrobatic marine builds to slow tanky herbivores. Focusing more specifically on wolves though, pretty much everything I've said so far about the caniform build applies here. But for a more...
I think that, and I could be wrong, but I think that species compared to species, if you go down the list, I think that the dog creatures tend to be more oversized compared to the cat ones. Because, like, yeah, the cats have some big cats, like lions, tigers, leopards, jaguars, things like that. But outside of those four, you don't really see too many other, like, big cats. Whereas with dogs, it's like, you got the many different varieties of bears. You got the sea creatures that tend to fall into dogs, like seals and sea lions and stuff. And I mean, wolves are typically bigger than other cat creatures that are in that same area, like lynxes and stuff. So I think that dogs tend to be bigger as well. Could be wrong, but let me know if I'm wrong.
For in-depth analysis, let's take a look at the wolf's base stats. So, as ferocious as wolves are thought to be, their power stat is fairly mid for an apex predator. Wolves aren't really going to be one-shotting anything larger than a rabbit with their bite attacks. And due to the non-retractability of their claws, they aren't going to be doing much damage with their paw swipe either. And yet, taking out players above their own weight class is a signature aspect of the wolf's strategy. This is typically done by chaining strings of bite attacks together in order to inflict the bloodlust status condition, which drains the target's health and stamina over time. When executed properly by a pack of wolves, this can bring down basically anything, no matter how large the target. But obviously, since this is not a quick process, there's a lot of room for mistakes. So let's see how wolves handle taking damage rather
Mario
than dealing
64.
it. So due to their lower defense
Pokemon.
stat, wolves are going to be mostly relying on their agility to avoid damage. They aren't totally defenseless. Their thick fur and general bulk does allow them to absorb a few blows if necessary, but it's mostly there for warmth, not combat. Their stealth stat is a similar story. Their gray fur
Some of these
overcoat
UIs I
does
don't
offer
recognize.
a moderate stealth bonus, but is primarily there for warmth and can be
Okay,
easily
that's
spotted
Metal
except
Gear.
against a few specific backgrounds. As I sort of mentioned during the segment about caniform versus feliform builds, the perception stat is central to the wolf's game plan. Their ability to track scents is quite literally one of the best in the game, able to detect smells from miles away. But their top tier perception stat doesn't end at olfaction. Their sense of hearing is also exceptionally powerful. While many players believe the cat's hearing is superior, in reality they are roughly equivalent in terms of pure sensitivity, but are fine-tuned for different purposes. Cats are much better at sensing higher-pitched sounds, allowing them to detect hidden prey nearby, such as the sound of a mouse breathing under the leaf litter. Wolves are better at sensing low rumbling sounds, meaning they can discern the location of larger prey from miles away. And the same is true for their eyesight. The cat's slitted pupils allow it to strike smaller targets with perfect accuracy, but are not as useful as the wolf's large circular pupils for locking onto prey from a long distance. And as I've already alluded to, the wolf's above-average intelligence stat enables some excellent options for teamwork and pack hunting. They can communicate and coordinate over great distances using their howl ability. The combination of teamwork and extremely powerful perception abilities allows wolves to control massive territories. We'll get more in depth into their hunting tactics in a bit. Mobility is their second highest stat, and this greatly assists in their ability to defeat players in higher weight classes. Simply put, wolves have an incredible amount of stamina, and can run for longer distances than pretty much anything it could ever encounter. This makes sense, as being able to sense prey from a great distance wouldn't do much good if you had no ability to run them down. So when you add all of this up, just how effective of a build is the wolf? It really does come down to how effective their pack hunting abilities are. If you were to strip all of that away, I actually think the wolf would be mid at best. Their power stat is way below average for an apex predator, being more in line with that of a scavenger or generalist build. There's no way a lone wolf is bringing down one of the tundra serpents.
Yeah, I think a lone wolf by itself is essentially a scavenger. I think you can draw a metaphor in there somewhere, because most of the people that claim to be lone wolves and don't mess with anybody tend to be rather shitty, insecure people themselves that tend to like put on a front to pretend to be somebody else or something else, almost like they're scavenging somebody else's image, or scavenging the idea of an image. So it's like, yeah, they're lone wolves, but they're scavengers at the same time.
With that of a scavenger or generalist build, there's no way a lone wolf is bringing down one of the tundra server's many tanky herbivores. Yet, as a player, if all you want to do is grief smaller mammal builds like rabbits and squirrels, you're really better off playing as a smaller caniform, like a fox or a mink. In order to get the most out of a wolf's kit, you need to maximize the utilization of the wolf's perception and stamina perks, which are most effective at tracking and hunting larger herbivores. So, wolves really are stuck working together. They'd be wasting their potential hunting only smaller builds, but aren't powerful enough to solo a large herbivore. Their kit only makes sense when viewed through the lens of pack hunting. And indeed, the lethality of the wolf's pack hunting tactics is undeniable. Through coordinated attacks and clever kiting, wolves are able to prove that their squads are much more cohesive than that of their targets, and split vulnerable members off from their teammates. And at that point, it really is just a waiting game. Now, it's worth noting that, even in a group, it's often still too risky to just recklessly attack a tanky herbivore. Wolfmanes tend to only attack a fleeing target, so as long as they hold their ground, they shouldn't take damage. But as they tire from fending off bluff strikes, and as their teammates get further and further away, most players will eventually try and make a break for it. And this is where the wolf pack will start dealing damage. By taking turns attacking their back end repeatedly, they'll eventually inflict the Bloodlust status effect, which slowly drains the target's HP.
They love to
a
eat
guaranteed
ass.
Game over, at which point the entire pack splits the loot. This is overpowered in and of itself, but where it really gets broken is when you re-examine the same tactic through the wolf-human team combo. Because all of the things that make the wolves pack hunting work actually function even more effectively when paired with a human. Humans and wolves are similar in that both are exceptional distance runners, allowing them to naturally keep pace with each other and avoid slowing each other down. But in addition to having similar perks, they also cover each other's weaknesses and fill in the biggest gaps in each other's hunting strategy. Humans lack the same perception stat that wolves have. While they can use their intelligence to
Seemed like
sort of
that barrel
supplement
accent
their
kind
weak
of
sense
also.
of hearing and smell, there's really no substitute to just having a teammate who can lock onto a scent at a great distance and
Yeah, it's
never
like I'm a human. My senses suck. You're a bear. You're supposed to be able to smell and hear way more effectively than me. So that means that your perception's garbage.
While they can use their intelligence to sort of supplement their weak sense of hearing and smell, there's really no substitute to just having a teammate who can lock onto a scent at a great distance and never lose it. But why do wolves need humans? You may remember when wolves hunt, they can oftentimes reach an impasse due to their lack of ability to quickly deal lethal damage. Humans do not have this limitation and can easily break the stalemate using one of their projectile weapons. The same is true on defense. The wolf's sensory abilities can detect the approach of a dangerous enemy and alert the humans of the impending threat, a threat that wolves alone would struggle to drive away. And so domestic wolf and human hunter-gatherer players naturally made for an unstoppable force that lasted through multiple balance patches, including the end of the Ice Age and the beginning of the Anthropocene. Eventually, after spending so much time cooperating, many wolf players began speccing their characters specifically to better synergize with humans, such as a passive mental health regen aura, and higher intelligence and better communication abilities, which allowed them to handle more complicated commands, eventually renaming their build entirely from wolf to dog. And because of their optimization towards collaboration, even as humans transitioned away from their hunter-gatherer playstyle, dogs still remained a relevant and high-tier choice for their party comp. This isn't to say that the wolf's only good interspecies combo is with a human, though. Among the player base who remained wild, one solid combo is with the raven or crow. They will often seek
Corvids
out a
are
wolf player
always
and lead them
awesome.
to a carcass they've found far away. These POIs are usually hotly contested and too competitive for a crow to
with the
capture
Empire.
themselves. So, in exchange for leading the wolf there, the wolf will chase away the other players and share the remaining spoils with the bird. But anyway, in short, wolves broke the game by finding the perfect team comp and being the #1 choice of party member for the most overpowered build the game has ever seen. They were already debatably OP just hunting in wolf packs, but were at least sort of kept in check by their mid damage. But when that limitation is mitigated, their tracking and pursuit hunting abilities are truly unfair to play against. And that's why, despite me only giving wolves a rank of A tier on my Canid tier list, when partnered up with humanity, they are legitimately broken, giving dogs.
Did I ever do a
rank of
reaction
S
to
tier.
the Canid tier
Partnering up with
list?
other highly capable
know
individuals
if I
is
did.
pretty much always the
I might have to
optimal
check that out.
strategy. And if you've followed my channel for any length of time, you've no doubt heard me talk about my favorite team combo, Nebula. Nebula is a streaming service owned and operated by a bunch of awesome creators. We've all
I don't know if
partnered up
this
to bring
ad
you, our viewers,
is
the
still,
best video ecosystem on the internet, free
like,
from
active
intrusive
today,
ads and
but I'll
manipulative
let it run through.
algorithms. But you might already know that. You might even already know all the crazy deals we offer in the subscription pricing, such as an unbelievable $3 per month offer on the annual plan. What you might not know, though, is that in keeping with the theme of team combos and sharing loot, Nebula now offers gift cards. So, if you know anyone who's a fan of either my channel or any of the other amazing Nebula creators, including Legal Eagle, Real Life Lore, Lindsay Ellis, Jetlag, Octopus Lady, Polymatter, and many more, a Nebula gift card could be the perfect gift for them. You can get the exact same deals for the gift cards as you would a normal personal membership. But if you really want to ball out, you could get them, or yourself, a lifetime membership gift card. These are a big investment up front, but honestly, I can think of at least a half dozen other streaming services that I wish offered this sort of deal. The lifetime membership also funds big budget original projects much more directly. So if you'd like to see
Normally,
me really
whenever I have
shoot
an
for the moon with
opportunity,
some
I
big
always try to go
projects,
for the
this is
lifetime,
absolutely your best
'cause it's
option.
like
I would not
one
expect
and
these
done.
sorts of deals to be around much longer,
As long as it's
especially
something
the
that
lifetime membership one. So
watch.
if you're interested, you can either
As long as
scan
it's
the
something
QR
that
code
you,
on
like,
screen,
use
head
a
to
lot.
nebula.tv/TierZoo, or click the link in the description of this video.
And you know that
Thanks
you're gonna
again
be
for
using it a
watching,
lot in the
and
future
as
as
always,
well.
good luck out there.
Our Mongoose is OP? Is that what we're doing next? Yeah. I'm gonna have to go back and look through his channel because it's been a minute since I've watched TierZoo. Like, I had a couple of them that I had saved on my watch laters during my hiatus that I knew I was going to do a reaction to. This was, I think, one of them. But I didn't actually go through his channel and like look and see what was new. So I'm gonna have to go through and check it out and see what other like actual tier list videos he has up and do a reaction to them. Not just him, there's also YouTubers that I haven't looked at in a while that I know have added a lot of new stuff. Like, I recently went back and I looked at the Geography Now channel, and I see that they've completed their countries videos. So at some point I'm gonna end up doing a reaction to the United States, UK, Turkey. There's a handful of them. Also, I need to look at Canada too, if I haven't already looked at Canada. If I haven't, then I need to do a reaction to that too, because due to current stuff going on right now, yeah, like Canada is, I mean, United States is going through some stuff too, but Canada's going through some shit also, and it's kind of messed up. And well, I ain't gonna say too much on camera or whatever, but just know that like Canada is probably one of the greatest allies a country could ever ask for, ever. In like the history of, you think of all the borders and the countries that like neighbor each other and how much friction or whatever the hell else is going on between them, and it's like you got like a perfect neighbor like right next to you, and then you just start fucking with them for no reason. Don't make no sense. But anyway, I know that's a tangent in and of itself. I don't want to get too deep into it because this video is about TierZoo. Whenever I do the geography now, if I haven't already done Canada, then I'll go back and do it again. If I have, then I might have a link pop up over here somewhere. Just know that it's outdated based on like the current events that's going on. But that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, share, and comment. Again, links are everywhere they need to be. Description box, the little icon that pops up over here somewhere. And be sure to give it a look. Anyway, I'm Devon DaVinci. I'm going to give you the deuces, and I'm signing out. Peace.